Hey, it's AT time. My name is Ron Freeman, and today on Animation Trainers, we're going to talk about one of the best days of my life. The day I got to meet the man who made me want to do what I do for a living. One of Walt Disney's 9 old men and Disney legend, Marc Davis. And to make sure that you don't miss any of the other videos that we post here on Animation Trainers, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and switch the notification bell to all. And check out the links in the description below to our website and to our Patreon page, where you can learn how to animate with me online for only $2 a week. I grew up in Southern California and started going to Disneyland on a regular basis since birth. In fact, I got a job there when I was 20 years old just so that I could work on the Haunted Mansion. On one of those trips, when I was 8 years old or so, my mom bought me a souvenir book that they were selling that was tied to the attraction Pirates of the Caribbean. And inside the booklet, in the section where they talked about the history of piracy, was a ton of Marc Davis's concept art for the attraction. I became completely enamored with Marc Davis's style of drawing and the personality and expression that he got through his characters. And so I would start trying to draw those drawings and mimic them and look at them and copy them as close as I could. And so while I may have never become as gifted a draftsman as he was, I definitely worked diligently to try to pick up his style. Cut to 1991, and I'm in a position where I need to decide what I'm going to do for a career. Having a love of performing, but also having grown up in Southern California and therefore understanding how difficult it can be to make a living as a performer, I decided to pursue animation because it allowed me to create performances, but maybe had more longevity than a typical performing career in the entertainment industry did. And while I adored Bugs Bunny and the Warner Brothers cartoons and other forms of animation as well, there was no question that my love for the Disney features and the Disney parks ran deep. And the artist who it seemed to me had the most opportunity to get to play in both of those sandboxes to the most fun and wonderful effect was Marc Davis. Having not only been responsible for the character design in Bambi and animating such amazing characters as Tinkerbell and Peter Pan, Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty, and Cruella de Vil in 101 Dalmatians, but also as one of the principal artists to transition over to WED Enterprises, which later became Walt Disney Imagineering, and working on such beloved attractions as the Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, the Haunted Mansion, America Sings, and the Country Bear Jamboree, to name just a few. Comment quiz. Who is your animation hero that you would love to tell how much their work has meant to you? I'd love to know in the comments below. Remember, all the cool kids comment. Cut to 1993, and I receive a postcard from the Disney Gallery at Disneyland, which was the shop that sold the premier Disneyana collectibles at the time. The postcard informed me that a special breakfast event was going to be coming up where people would have an opportunity to get to meet Disney legends and 2 of Walt Disney's 9 old men, Ward Kimball and Marc Davis. I couldn't believe it. Up until that point, I'd never had an opportunity to get to meet him, and considering the fact that he wasn't getting any younger, I knew that this might be the last opportunity I would have to get to tell him how much he meant to me. Unfortunately, attendance to the breakfast was $150, and that was back in mid-90s money, which comes out to about $324 in 2024. That's a lot of money for coffee and a Danish. But it was worth it to me to be able to have an opportunity to not only get to meet both Ward and Marc, but especially to get to tell Marc how much his career had meant to me and led to me deciding to do what I do for a living. And as much as Marc was my hero, I was also equally excited to meet Ward Kimball, who was not only the supervising animator of beloved characters like Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio and the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland, but was also host of the space programs that they hosted on the Disneyland ABC show. And Ward Kimball was also one of the famous train enthusiasts there at the studio, along with Walt Disney himself and other 9 old man Disney legend Ollie Johnston. Finally, the day had come, so I woke up and I drove down to Anaheim and I drank my coffee and I ate my Danish, and I can't remember if it was because Marc was a little late to coming and getting ready for the meet and greet, but there must have been a reason why I went to meet Ward first, so I waited in line for meeting Ward. I told Ward how excited I was to meet him, and that not only was I a huge fan of his work, but also that I really admired the fact that I'd heard he used to teach life drawing classes in which he would have the model act out the continuing poses of an overall action. He called it poses in motion or something along those lines. If anybody out there knows the proper name for what he called that series of life drawing classes, I'd love to know. And he was so warm and funny, and it was great pleasure to get to meet him. Then it was time to go meet my hero. I got in line and waited my turn. When the fan in front of me had said goodbye and it was my turn to meet Marc, I extended my right hand, which he took and shook, and I put my other hand over his, and I said, "Marc, you're the reason I became an animator. If I could have half the career that you have had, I would consider myself the luckiest person in the world." Marc then took his left hand and placed it over both of mine and said to me, "You're gonna do just fine." To me, that was like being Catholic and having the Pope bless me personally. I thanked him and allowed the person behind me to get their opportunity to get to meet him, and I walked away in a daze that I maintained for the next 72 hours. There are people who had a profound effect on me that I have not had the opportunity to tell them in person how much they meant to me. People like Walt Disney himself, George Carlin, Vincent Price, to name just a few. But I will always be thankful that I had the opportunity to tell Marc Davis how much I appreciated his career and how it led me to deciding what I would do for the rest of my life. And that's exactly the reason I started this channel, in the hopes that someday my work might inspire someone else to follow their dream. And so to make sure you don't miss any of the other videos that we post here on Animation Trainers, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and switch that bell. Or better still, want to start becoming an animator right now for only $2 a week? Check out our live feedback and over-the-shoulder animation sessions at patreon.com/animation trainers. You too can join our students, our trainees, and our beloved patrons, who have my eternal thanks for their continued support of this channel. Or would you prefer to have a private session with me, where we can discuss how to improve your animation skills working with me directly one-on-one? Then please visit our website at animationtrainers.com and schedule a session with me. My name is Ron Freeman, and I hope that we will see you for our next session here at Animation Trainers. In the meantime, keep it moving.